Hi everybody, it's Megan here from littlepinkbike.blogspot.com, and I have a video showing you how to make a circular card with a really easy cut file that I designed that you can download from my website. Here are the two cards that I made, one with teal colors and one with blue colors. I used the sweet little girl from My Favorite Things Jingle All the Way stamp set. I totally cannot get enough of her. Here's a close-up of the teal card. I used a cut file from the Silhouette store. It's number 44795, and some dies and cardstock from my stash. Here's the blue-purple one using the same bow cut file and the same Lawn Fawn stitched circle dies. Here's the inspiration for my cards. This is actually a smaller cut file, and it's still a circular card. I just wanted to color that little girl again, and I had seen a cute little folded tag like that online, so I thought I could create my own. It was pretty easy actually. I just welded two circles together. I can provide the cut file for both of the cards for you in my blog post. Here's the first card. I always cut a little bit off the back so that it can stand up. Just showing you that it does actually stand up, and there's where I cut a little bit off so that it's flat at the back, and that way the card stands up. I thought it would be fun to make a vellum envelope for these cards. These cards are just a little bit bigger than 3 inches. So I used the setting for a 3.5 by 3.5 inch card and a 6-inch piece of vellum. It was really easy to do. The vellum creases so easily and it makes a really pretty envelope. Here's my original sample, and I'm just showing you how I put it into an envelope that I made for it, and I love how you can kind of see the card through the translucent envelope. Kind of fun. Here are the supplies I'm going to use for this card. I started out by die cutting some circles with the Lawn Fawn stitched circle dies. I die cut 2 sizes from each color cardstock. I really wasn't sure whether I wanted the dark one on the back or the light one on the back or what, so I just die cut one of each while I was at my die cutting machine anyway. Then there is the already stamped and die cut little girl. Didn't want to bore you with how I did that. There she is. Love that stamp set. Even though it's a Christmas set, I'm still using it even though it's February. Here is the actual cut file that you can download from my blog. It's super easy. I cut it from really lightweight cardstock. Here's the Lawn Fawn set that I'm going to use for the sentiments. I'm going to use that little thank you, and I'm actually going to use the You're the Best right above it as well, so that I don't have 2 of exactly the same cards. Here are most, but not all, of the Copic markers I'm going to use. I forgot to add the brown ones in for her hair. Sorry, I do show them though in the video. I put my sample up on the left there so I can refer to it when I'm coloring this one. I kind of wanted to do something similar. I put on some music so that you can be entertained while I color. See you in a bit. Now that she's all colored, it's time to put a little bit of glossy accents on her boots. I like shiny rain boots. I'm using the fine line bottle that everybody out there seems to be using, and I always like to test it first. You can see that bit of cardstock there, make sure that it does work, and you know what, it works every time, except if you store the bottle upside down, the glossy accents will dry in it and your tip will be hooped. Ask me how I know that. So store your fine line bottles with your glossy accents right side up, and be sure at the end that you always just take off any extra glossy accents before you put the little wire from the lid back in the tube. I wasn't sure what color bow I wanted to use with what color cardstock, so I just die cut one of each of the 3 colors from some cardstock using my Silhouette machine. I'm just going to show you here how I put it together. I've actually fast forwarded this a little bit. I actually don't work that fast in real life. I always like to condition the cardstock a bit to get it moving into a circular kind of motion. I use glue dots on either side of the bow, attach it in the center. Now the little center part that covers up your join, it's all pre-scored for you in the file. Pretty great. One more glue dot to attach the bow to the tails. Here are all my little bits and pieces ready to be assembled into the card. I spent a lot of time going back and forth. What should I do? I tried the different bows. I think finally I've decided going to go with that, except you'll find out at the end I don't. I always keep the offcuts from when I'm trimming white cardstock in my trimmer, and this is one of the little strips, so I'm going to stamp the 2 sentiments side by side and then trim them out with a fishtail end. Now it's time to add the little girl with some foam tape on top of the circles I just adhered, and the bow to the top, and the little sentiment strip underneath. And I spent a long time figuring this one out. Trimmed, didn't like it, trimmed it again. A little bit of Wink of Stella on her jacket because it's so cute. Now it's time to make sure that the card can stand up. I always like to take a little sliver off the back, and I use a pencil to draw a line so I know where I'm going to trim. Sometimes I get it right the first time, sometimes I don't. And I realize here I need to take a bit more off. Here is the second card that I finished off camera. Didn't want to bore you with the details here. I did a banner with 2 fishtail ends, just for fun. Now I'm ready to make my envelope. This is my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board. I made a 3.5 by 3.5 inch envelope, and I needed a 6 by 6 inch piece of vellum. So I cut that on my trimmer, lined it up with a 3-inch strip as the instructions state, and scored and punched my little heart out while I made this envelope. It was really easy. I always like to round the edges of my flaps. Just a nice little touch. Here's the assembled envelope where I just used a glue dot to adhere the 3 corners together on the back. I'm just showing you how it fits the card perfectly here. Off camera, I threaded a button with some baker's twine, and I'll just adhere that once I've written my sentiment on the inside. If you want more information, head over to my blog at littlepinkbike.blogspot.com, and I'll have a list of all of the items that I used and the download for the free cut file if you would like. Thanks for watching.